might actually be a decent fish. And the line broke. That's what I was afraid of. Bummer. All right, so I just lost a fish. It happens sometimes, but this gives me the opportunity to go through the full configuration setup of what, how I set up the drop shot rig when I'm fishing in deeper water. I'm using a medium action 6'6" rod, spinning rod. This is a Walmart rod, and until I get to a point where I can invest in some better rods, this will do for right now. I've got a 15-pound braid as kind of the back, and then I'm going to use some 10-pound monofilament as the leader that I'm going to use. So I'm going braid to a monofilament leader. Monofilament has a little bit more stretch to it. I could go with a fluorocarbon leader, just whatever you have available to you. Typically you want to have a little less poundage for your leader than you do what your backing is. So 10-pound leader, 15-pound braid. I mean, you can have them pretty close, but typically you want them to be at least a little bit different. So I'm going to start by tying on the leader, which is the monofilament, to the braid. And the way I do that is with an Alberto knot. And to start with, you create a loop in the leader and give yourself a decent amount of a tag end. You're going to put the braid, the one end through the braid, through the loop, and again give yourself a decent amount of a tail to work with. And then I'm going to twist this around, and I went around 10 times. Now I'm going to go back up toward the loop, and I'm still twisting, but now I'm just going to go the other direction. And once you've gone back the other direction, then you put the end through the loop, back through the loop. Sorry, that took me a little while. So all it's really doing is it's creating a nice, secure way. So in the end, that knot is nice and secure for the leader, and you have a couple tag ends to cut off, and you want to trim them fairly close, but you don't want to trim it right on top of the knot. Leave just a touch of a tail left. Okay, so now that I've got that part, and it's solid, it's secure. Now I got to figure out how much leader I need, and I usually go about 5 feet or so, 5 to 6 feet. In essence, I basically just go the length of my arms from one side to the other. I consider that a pretty decent length. Cut that. All right, so now I have my leader, and first things first, I need to put on the hook, and I'm going to use a Palomar knot for this. Palomar knot is fairly simple, but you have to make sure that you are mindful of the configuration of the hook at the end. The beginning really doesn't matter, but what you're going to do is you're putting the line through the hook, and I'm going to pull it through a good distance, and then I'm going to put it back through the eye of the hook again. So now I've created a situation that looks like this, where I've got the hook sitting in the middle. Now this, the tail end, is going to be how far down your drop shot line is going to be. So you want to make sure that you have at least enough that you want to do about at least a foot, about 12 inches of line. I've been using around 10 to 12 inches of a bit of extra leader from the hook for the drop shot weight. That's typically what I've been doing. So once you figure out you've got enough, that should be close to good. Okay, so now that we're at that point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a simple overhand knot. So just a twist it around, and all I did was just created the loop, pinching it with my finger and my thumb, putting the loop, the tail end of the loop, through the hole that I created. Okay, so now I just have a simple overhand knot, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this tail end and I'm going to put the hook through it. So what you end up with is an overhand knot that you're going to tie down, but you want to make sure that that little extra loop that you put around the hook at the end, make sure that gets above the eye. So when you're done, you don't have any of that kind of going down underneath the eye of the hook. Okay, so when I pull this tight, notice how the hook is sitting up. That's good. In this case, it worked out well. If yours is facing down, all you have to do is take the tail end and put it back through the hole of the hook and pull it down. That will absolutely make sure that that hook is situated so that the hook end is pointed up. That's what you want to make absolutely sure, that your hook end is pointed up. All right, so now that we've got that, now we're just to the point that we need to figure out how far up we're going to use the weight. Now I'm going to go up in size just a little bit today. Instead of doing a 1/8 ounce, I'm going to do 3/16. And if you think about it, 1/8 ounce would be 2/16. So this is just another 1/16 of an ounce up in weight. For this, the Dropshot weight has the pinch point at the top, so if I wanted to, I could simply just put the line through where it's a little bit wider, pull it up, and it's going to be secure for the most part. But I want to make sure that it's not going to go anywhere, so I'm gonna move it up just a little bit more. I think I'm gonna have, let's say, about that much distance. So what I'm going to do is, at this point, I'll pull up just a little bit. I'm not tugging hard because you will break the line if you do this, but then I'm just going to put a simple overhand knot above the Dropshot weight. So all I'm doing is just doing a simple overhand knot on the Dropshot weight, just to help kind of keep it in place. And so I have a little bit of a tag end. All right, so now I'm down to my last watermelon red flake yum dinger. I have to go get some more. So I've got and I showed this in my last video, how to use the Wacky Rig tool. Try to move, and these are aftermarket O-rings. The ones that come on here are the clearer ones, and they don't grip around as hard. The aftermarket ones, the second batch that I bought, they're a little bit tighter on here, and I kind of prefer that, just so you know that not all O-rings are the same. So put this in, put the O-ring, again, just past, at least on the yum dinger, there's the smooth part, and just past it is pretty close to that middle point. So got it, yeah, more or less in the middle. So the stick bait is ready to go. And when we hook it on, we're going through the O-ring. I'm gonna do just a little bit of the actual plastic from the plastic bait. Generally, the O-ring does a really good job of just allowing to go up the line after you set the hook. So I'm going to simply go underneath the O-ring and come up, and that is it. So this is what it looks like when it's all said and done. You've got the hook, you've got the weight. Notice the distance. It's probably about 12, 13 inches, give or take a little bit. Just bring it back into view one more time to show you what it looks like when it's all said and done. Let's see if we can catch some fish with it now. Cast it out. Let it get all the way down to the bottom. While it's going down to the bottom, I'm gonna put my stuff away. And remember, just because you're kind of not paying attention to your rod, make sure you're looking over from time to time and making sure that line isn't just taken off, because a fish could very easily grab it as it's falling down to the bottom and run off with it. And if that happens, you're probably going to have to pull it out of its gut, because it's going to pretty much inhale the bait. All right, let's see how we do. Well, I couldn't get that last bite that I wanted to for the video, but that's okay. I'll try again tomorrow. But hopefully the video will help you get a drop shot set up the best way, or at least the way that's going to work well for you. Hey, let me know in the comment section below if it works well for you. I'd love to hear about it. Thanks for watching Brian's Bassin' and Forecasting. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hopefully we'll see you again soon.